Welcome to the Intercut podcast, a weekly show going through all the movies, TV, and entertainment that people just can't cut away from. I'm your co-host Arturo Zurita, and joining me from the snowy mountains of Cincinnati, it's Zachary Shevich.
Oh, maybe. We're looking into our future 2 years from now, and
we don't know
the potential future of the Sundance Film Festival. I don't know. We're headed to Park City again in January for the penultimate time? Question mark.
I don't know, because if it's not at Sundance, if it's not in Cincinnati, then we might have to meet Amanda the Jedi over in Boulder, Colorado.
Woo, that would be marginally better.
Just by a percentage, yeah.
You'd probably have to take one fewer flight to get there, maybe?
Maybe? No, because it would probably still be Denver to Boulder.
Well, you can drive Denver to Boulder. That's only half an hour.
No, they will find a way, Zach. There's going to have to be like, she's going to end up in Telluride this time around.
This bitch isn't allowed out of the airport. One more plane.
That's the way the airplane karma works there. But those are the three final options that we have for the Sundance Film Festival, which they have claimed in 2 years' time may be moving. Now, we have said this. We have told y'all, go to Sundance. Because imagine going to Sundance with it not being at Sundance. There is something to this beautiful mountains out there, the air that is so crisp. You feel like you can breathe better, but not at the same time. There's just something special about going to a movie theater, a movie festival, and you're coming out to the brightest weather possible because the sun is literally shining off of the snow. We've always recommended it. We think it's the best possible experience for movies. It's always one of our favorites, even if it may not be the best festival that we'd recommend to people. But with these last 2 years, with it maybe being in Sundance before moving, give it a chance to go out there. I would argue that before it does move to Cincinnati, Boulder, it'd be really cool to say you were there in the before times.
Yeah.
That's fair.
You know, we do a bunch of film festivals coverage for this channel. We've done Toronto. We've done South by in Austin. We've been in New York. Amanda's been off to Cannes. And I think one thing that is really unique about Sundance in comparison to them is because it predominantly takes place in Park City, which is the small ski town. Sundance really takes over the whole town. It's kind of one of the problems that's led to some of the rising costs in Sundance. But like, you know, you go to Toronto or New York, these festivals that are amazing and take place in big cities, you could walk a few blocks away and have no idea there's a film festival going on there. Yeah. So there's something really special to being in a town where everybody pretty much is there to do the same thing you are, and that's see new movies.
Yeah. And a beautiful ski town, too. So, hey, we'll see where it carries it. I don't know if you guys wanted to stay.
Maybe we should try the runs one year.
this will be the year. We'll be the ones coming out of the... We're going to get the handicap rows at that point after we go skiing and we all mess up. But I still think it's going to be a blast. They claim, maybe you guys can remind me, they're going to announce it after this festival.
I believe so. I don't know if they've put a date on the announcement, but they announced the final. Yeah, they've announced the final 3 potential locations for the future of the festival a couple months ago. Now it feels like so. Yeah, they've had their time to deliberate.
Ugh.
So we'll see how that goes. We'll keep y'all updated as we talk about the Sundance 2025 lineup, full of a bunch of movies that are going to be big hits. Some under the radar stuff already that we can see. We have sifted through all of it, the narratives, the docs, the shorts just came out today, so we don't have those. But we've gone through I want to say almost 80 films that they've announced. We're going to be going through the different platforms for you to watch it. The biggest things that y'all need to know. I know we were talking about locations. Half of these you can see from the comfort of your own home, so it doesn't matter if you're going to Boulder, Cincinnati. If you're not going to Sundance, your couch, it works. So we're going to be breaking down first the movies that we know are going to be online for y'all. We've always kind of broken down what it is that you need to know when you go to Sundance, but when you're watching them at home, you just need to know that if it's in competition, you have the ability to watch it at home for $35. We have broken the prices down in the past. How do y'all feel about it being $35 tickets to watch a new Sundance movie? A Real Pain could be available for you to watch a year in advance. Would you pay the $35 or what would you need for that?
Well, I would, because I do stupid things just to make sure my schedule works out. $300 for Megalopolis, but
Cheaper than TIFF. Still cheaper than TIFF.
Still cheaper than TIFF, where it really went up this year. They did still have some of the cheaper tickets that were a little bit more expensive this year, but it was those premiere costs that really ramped up. With TIFF, I guess at least with Sundance, they all seem to be the same price regardless of what the screening is. Like if it's the first screening, it's going to cost just as much as the fifth screening if they happen to have one.
Yeah. Now, those would be in person. Do you see a difference with you having paid the money for a Megalopolis ticket with, you were at least going to be in a venue?
Yeah,
how do you feel about it being
$35
$35 for a screener?
$35
Because at
for a
25 I
screener.
pitched it.
Yeah, 25 is good. 35, I think you almost have to. That's almost wait and see if it's good, but then you might miss out on it because the digital stuff is limited. So you kind of have to make the choices.
One benefit, though, people who are waiting for digital have is that reviews will likely be out by the time that the films screen on digital. They're screening in person, I believe, 2, maybe even 3 days before they are available online. So you will be able to look at reviews. Some of the buzzier titles might get all sold out if you wait that long, but there's always under the radar hits that are worth checking out. And that $35 price point, it feels like a lot, but as you mentioned, like if you're doing this at home, that's still cheaper than going with someone to the movies. Like just have one other person with you and it becomes economical to see a movie that may not come out for months or years later. You brought up A Real Pain, which is obviously in the thick of the Oscars race right now. We caught that in January 2024 when most people didn't have a chance to see it until it hit movie theaters in November 2024.
Yeah.
So it's cool to get a chance to catch some of these films early, and especially if you can make it a social activity like we try to by getting together and hanging out on the couch and cooking some food. And it's, luckily Sundance is one of the few major festivals that still affords you that opportunity.
And that's one of the best things about it. We have noticed all the other ones that got rid of screeners, but Sundance, thank you for keeping it. I hope they continue to keep it. Take advantage of it. Why?
Because the year that TIFF did it live, within a day, everything was online. Dear Evan Hansen, online. Everything was on. Yeah.
They messed up.
They had to stop because it's either their security wasn't good enough, but technically you could see the person's email going around. They just blurred it. So I'm pretty sure they figured out who did it because the metadata was there, but they couldn't risk it.
Like that was the big risk is just tracking the email, what it's supposed to be. Look, I'm glad Sundance kept it, and as Zach was breaking down, he always mentions the award bundle. I don't know if you want to mention it again, because that really is the best one if you're looking to get a selection of movies, but you don't know which ones to get. They end up doing this.
Yeah, they do.
So
they usually make the award films available for the final weekend of the festival. So it's good to keep your eye out for what Sundance ultimately does choose, and it gives you a second opportunity to catch movies you think you might have missed. A Real Pain being one of those movies that did add additional screenings after it won some awards.
Yep. So they have
some packages online. Keep shouting out Real Pain. They had more than one movie at Sundance last year.
But that was the biggest one because that also did film festivals. And the reason I shout that one out is because I think there's a difference between you paying $35 right now and not like A Real Pain where people are going to TIFF to see it. Pay the $35 now and not the $350 later. Once it comes down to it and people are like, I want to see this movie early, you can see it from the comfort of your own house.
Yeah.
$35 feels way cheaper. Once you end up reaching the fall.
And I think that a lot of the Sundance titles kind of benefit from, while it's always lovely and I prefer seeing things in theaters, a lot of them feel just as good sitting at home as long as you can afford it the attention it deserves. Every once in a while there's stuff that you're like I wouldn't have wanted to see Love Lies Bleeding for the first time, or TV Glow. I saw the TV Glow. I would not have wanted to see that the first time on a couch, but I know that's going to be most people's experience with it. So it's, I think that a lot of it is just these kind of smaller indie stories that don't gain or lose much from being seen at home versus on a larger scale thing. So just, find the stuff that looks interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, so we're going to be breaking it down by the categories, and we want to begin with the ones that you guys are going to have the chance to catch at home. And there's always one massive category that needs to be covered because that's where some of the classics have come out of. I am talking about the U.S. Dramatic Competition. Zach always compiles all the movies that come out of this, all the big ones, to let you know, hey, this may be your favorite category. That's always how I look at it. You may not know these filmmakers. They may be new movies. We only got one image for these. But sometimes you know what category is going to give you the best ones. Zach.
Absolutely. And look, there's a long history of films that emerged from the Sundance Film Festival that we're not even going to get into. Like we were talking about Clerks from Kevin Smith before we started recording this episode. That is a movie that premiered in the U.S. dramatic competition back in 1994. But if we're just talking about films from the past, like, decade or so, you had Fruitvale Station in 2013, the debut from Ryan Coogler. Whiplash in 2014, before Damien Chazelle became, one of our revered auteurs. Swiss Army Man from the Daniels in 2016. Ingrid Goes West in 2017. Bo Burnham's Eighth Grade in 2018. And then when I started coming to Sundance, we saw Last Black Man in San Francisco and The Farewell in 2019.
One of the
Farewell.
First ones. Hey,
Baby.
I think there's a Farewell in the schedule this year.
Ooh,
and by Farewell,
I'm
I mean like
curious.
their version of it. I think is going to be really good. But
Ooh.
it's a stacked competition section, in my opinion. U.S.
Yeah.
Dramatic,
Yeah.
I think, is a big one for people to look for. Their next favorite.
Yeah, it's got to be either this one or Midnight, but this one, is probably the one that's most likely to produce a potential Oscar nominee. This is the category that had Coda in 2021 before it eventually won Best Picture. And again, last year, or this most recent year, A Real Pain, which is probably going to get a couple nominations of its own.
Oh, good. I don't think we've mentioned that one. I think A Real Pain is one that
No.
y'all need to have on your radar before it closes. This is a Real Pain podcast right here. But looking at the newest ones that are coming out, I'll let y'all take it off. What's one of the top hits that you had off of the U.S. Dramatic competition?
Bunnylovr.
Amanda's been saying Bunnylovr since we hopped on. Probably one of the standout titles. Bunnylovr, tell me.
It's got Rachel Sennett in it.
That's really all you need.
No, it's like, no, it does. It looks interesting. We got a screenwriter-director combo out of Katarina Zhu, who's also the lead actress in it, who's pictured here. Apologies if I pronounced the last name right. I probably did. But I think it's going to be interesting. It's like a cam girl story, and obviously trying to like navigate what that reality is like while trying to maintain relationships, then stuff with the family. And I can only imagine like the added dynamic of like being a Chinese American, having like the familial things where there's certain expectations, because even in Western culture, being a cam girl is kind of like a new thing, a newer thing, at least in terms of like the wide level accessibility that anybody can really do that now, and how that's going to change a certain landscape and having to navigate that in relationships. So I'm like very interested in that, especially seeing Rachel Sennett in it after doing Shiva Baby, which isn't the same thing, but kind of like similar ideas of sex work for survival purposes or whatever. So I'm just interested in it. I'm hoping it's really good. It looks like it's going to be a little bit of like a personal story here when you have like a screenwriter, director, and lead actor all of the same thing. So those movies can sink or swim, but a lot of the times they end up being really good. So excited for that one.
And Katarina is a filmmaker who graduated out of Tisch NYU at the same time as Rachel Sennett. I believe they're pretty close. If you are a fan of Rachel Sennett's Instagram, Katarina is very frequently on there as well.
Yeah.
So they have that connection. I think Rachel's talked a bit about how this was an opportunity for her to get a friend's work produced, and now that she's able to like use her clout a bit to get projects that she believes in off the ground, this is one of those projects she's chosen. So I'm curious to see not just this film from a debut filmmaker, but also the kind of thing that Rachel Sennett as a producer wants to help put into the world. And we mentioned that Katarina Zhu is starring in her film here, that Rachel Sennett is also in it. Do want to also mention Austin Emilio, who I thought was like a scene stealer in Hitman, the kind of corrupt cop that Glenn Powell and Adria Arjona have to deal with.
That guy
is also in Bunnylovr.
Okay.
Nice. Should be solid.
He's going to be a creep for sure.
Right? Like, you just look at him, you're like, yep. I also like the name. I'm curious to see how much they play with, like, on-screen stuff and how much of the communication is going to go that way. I think Sundance has had...
How
drop
much
the E in lover.
Yeah.
Very tech
I
appropriate.
want to see how much it goes into that and, like, kind of using the medium.
Right?
In the medium.
Exactly. Because it feels like they're not going to be seeing each other as much as it is going to be online, and Sundance has been killing it. Dile last year, Searching not too long ago. I'm curious if this one gets into it as well, but Bunnylovr, our first pick.
You know?
Past Lives too, yeah. So our first pick out of the U.S. dramatic competition, Bunnylovr. Put that one on your radar. Always got to catch the new Rachel Sennett. Zach, what's on yours?
I'm going to go with Omaha. This is a film
that's one of mine too.
It's a film that stars one of our favorites here on Intercut, the ever reliable John Magaro.
Yes, sir.
He plays a father who's taking his family on a cross-country trip following a tragedy. I think one of the things that really intrigued me here is that it comes from a script by filmmaker Robert Machoyan, who is a Sundance alum himself, having made the movie The Killing of Two Lovers, a film that I think we all really responded to in Sundance 2020. That Fantastic. Also sounds like it deals with like families in crisis. I thought the way that film handled the relationship between this father and his children was really interesting, and we're covering somewhat similar territory here in Omaha, and doing it with John Magaro at the center. You know, he's often an actor who does really great in supporting roles. It'd be interesting to see him take center stage.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to this one as well. I'm curious to see what they do with it. John Magaro, I think, is slowly trying to become that Sundance...
Christopher Abbott?
I don't want to call him the prince, but he's been appearing from Strangelands to everything else that he's done. I'm very excited to see what he has up his sleeve for this one. I don't think he's ever disappointed with it. And I agree. It's what's his name doing the script that really stands out to me. I hope this man's able to carry that same direction that he's able to as well. Mm-hmm. Omaha, very solid pick. I'm going to follow up with my highest anticipated one on here. And it's surprisingly not two of the funniest ones. I'm going with what is supposed to be a little bit more serious, Ricky. This is a feature film that comes out of a short film that I think premiered last year, if I'm not mistaken. Ricky was already at Sundance as a 20-minute short film where a dude gets out of prison. And then, like, everything possible to ruin his parole starts happening. From inside to outside the house, an incident happens, and it's one of those shorts that ends with a cliffhanger. I thought it was really good, but I'm like, bro, you can't wrap it up like that. Yes, you can. When you've got a feature film coming out at Sundance. Right off the bat, not only do you have the same director, but it's the cast. Stephen James is taking over for the lead, and Cheryl Lee Ralph is coming in as well to play the other big lead in this. I'm very excited. I think this is going to be one of the narratives that carries a lot of emotional and dramatic depth, and then is able to sneak in a lot of humor in there. So I'm very excited for this one, even above the other two comedies that I'm really looking forward to. But Ricky's at my top. I want to follow this one up with what I think most of us should have really high up there. Atropia.
Yes, let's talk
about
it.
Did you all read the synopsis to this thing?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Tell them.
When an aspiring actress in a military role-playing facility falls in love with a soldier cast as an insurgent, their unsimulated emotions threaten to derail the performance. This hits on so many elements of like craft and narrative and documentary versus fiction, and blending the worlds that I think gets us all really excited. Yeah.
This is already a short film. It's out online, so you kind of get the gist of what they're going for. And the first thing Alina had mentioned was Riotsville.
Okay.
She is almost like doing a version here in America where they're filming something to prep for drills overseas. And then it's her love story that's happening. So it's like she's an actress, but not like for a movie, for a reenactment of some sort. I think this is going to be so inverted in and of itself. It's also produced by Luca.
Yeah, Luca, he's like producing like a bunch of stuff at this festival this year.
I'm curious for this one because technically the director-writer is an actress who was in Challengers. So that's probably why he's on here. She's also,
I couldn't remember what part she is in Challengers.
Can't be.
When he needs a date?
Yeah, she's the date.
She's the date at the bar.
She's
at the hotel bar?
Yes, she's hotel bar.
That's so funny.
Actually, hold on. I think I have it here because
she's the victim of his hobosexualism.
Right here. This is her in the movie right there. Yeah.
That's so funny.
I'm curious to see, what they were cooking up with this because, again, she is also the one who did the short. I think the short is interesting. So having that prepared for a feature film should be cool to see. Again, cool. Ricky and Atropia both doing it that way and taking a short film and now expanding it to something bigger.
Yeah.
I think this is going to be very funny.
I always find it interesting when they get the bigger name for the short as well, because it's Aaliyah Shawkat, right? So Aaliyah being in the short shows a certain degree of faith in the craft there, and then proof of concept. Now they can make the full one. It's I find those ones tend to go better. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
it'll be interesting.
It's dope. Yeah,
we've got that one ready to go right there. I had another comedy. I know Amanda had mentioned it earlier, so I'll let her explain it. But the moment I saw my boy in there, how could I not? It's a movie called Twinless.
Yeah. Oh yeah, so this is basically like two guys meet at a bereavement support group, and I think it's specifically for twins, so I'm assuming it's twins who've lost their twin.
It feels like it, yeah.
Yeah, and then they form an unlikely bromance, and that picture, you just got like the sim things on top of their head, so I'm like, what are you guys gonna do with this? What's this gonna be?
No acknowledgement of that in the plot synopsis whatsoever.
None.
Well, I love seeing something like this when you're like, why does this feel like it should be in the next category, and it's just not. So I'm interested in it. I think Dylan O'Brien's been doing some like really fun stuff lately.
Same.
I love his commitment to everything he's been doing. I think he deserves it after he almost died making the Maze Runner movies. So
That too.
yeah, I'm pretty excited for it. I think it'll be fun.
Hopefully. The director's also the guy next to him in it. So James Sweeney is directing and starring in it. He did a movie a couple years back called Straight Up. If you watch the trailer, which he's also in, you'll kind of get a little bit of the humor. It's not bad. It's pretty decent. But I am through and through there for Dylan O'Brien. I hope it ends up being very funny. Also, Azing, this will be the first time I'm seeing her, I think, in a comedy.
Oh, yeah.
Blessed be, girl. Thank you.
For real. You deserve
another Sundance alum. After, I mean, we all have the story. I love how we all told the same story for the Nightingale. For those of you who don't know, since we've been doing this for years together as a group, where Amanda had covered the story, we had covered the story, and I remember at one point, someone accused one of us, was like, you just took that from the other person who was there at the screening. I was like, there was multiple people there at the screening.
And we're fucking friends. Like, we literally all saw it together. They were sitting right next to me when that women almost went over the fucking balcony. Like,
that's beautiful. It was almost like the days where I would be told I was copying myself between LME and A to Z. But we have been watching this actress for a long time, and it is good to see that from the torture in The Nightingale, the unforgivable stop motion Demeter, you speak no evil. Finally, a comedy in Twinless.
Yeah,
good for her.
This one looks like it's gonna be good.
Actually, that makes me worried now. Maybe it's not funny at all.
Damn it! Don't do that. Don't do that.
either that or she's playing like the grieving widow, right? Like they can't they can't just let her have a break.
Damn.
We'll see. Maybe she's like the counselor. Maybe she's the support counselor.
There you go.
Maybe she's the one playing the Sims game the entire time. You never really
know.
know.
Maybe she murdered the twin.
She's the one who murdered the twin. She just can't escape it. I don't know if you guys had any stragglers, last minute ones. I did want to shout out Love Brooklyn because it's produced by Steven Soderbergh. Yeah, Andre Holland had one of my favorites last year at Sundance with Exhibiting Forgiveness. Yeah. And here's another one, and Three Long Brooklynites. And they all intersect.
And I think Nicole Bahari is like one of our most underrated actresses. So that's got me in the door for sure.
This is one where I feel by the end of the festival, I'm going to be like, this probably should have been mentioned a little higher. But to me, that's a good festival.
Yeah.
Anything else in here?
I mean, look, we're going to mention almost every movie in this category. There are only 10 movies in the competition. But again, this is the most exciting category in the competition. So I will throw a little love to a movie that I'm hoping is going to be quite funny, Bubble and Squeak. This is a movie about people who are accused of smuggling cabbages into a world where cabbages have been banned. And the cast here is also quite exciting. I love Himesh Patel, Sarah Goldberg from Barry in the most recent most recent season of Industry, Stephen Yeun, Dave Franco, and the hilarious Matt Berry from What We Do in the Shadows.
Yeah.
Come on.
I don't know how I missed that one. I don't know why that totally was not on my radar.
Yeah, Matt Berry alone is going to guarantee I'll be laughing my ass off at this one.
Good category.
There's something about it, bro, where I have it right on the outskirts. I don't know why. This might be the one that squeaks in and I was wrong. We have so many comedies and dramatic. Yeah. It might. Look, it's done by this guy who made this a play prior. So now he's adapting his play into a movie. Like Zach said, it is goofy. They're smuggling cabbages. Like, I don't know what that has to do with anything. Stephen Yeun's also producer in this, so I'm very curious to see what they do with it. I hope it does deliver. I don't know why, but Matt Berry was the one that stood out to me. There's particular people that we're going to be mentioning. Zach Fox is in another one. And out of all the cast, he's the one who stood out. Matt Berry was the one who stood out here. I think we're going to be dealing with a year of really standout supporting casts. Or even like lower than supporting. You call them like the not even cameo. You have a role player award, I think is what you give them.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
I think we're going to be seeing a lot of those.
Definitely.
Amanda, you had thoughts on this movie called Plainclothes.
Yeah, the new Tom Blythe movie that it's about. It's a cop who's supposed to arrest gays who falls in love with the gays. That's how I wrote it in my notes, at least, and I'm sure that covers it.
I just added Mr. Snow into it and had the exact same bullet points.
Yeah.
This one looks interesting because while it is playing on the dramatic level, they said they shot half of this movie or big portions to be lo-fi VHS.
I'm into that. That's interesting.
It could be interesting, right? Like,
could be interesting.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. There's a lot of stuff in this category that's probably here just because it's so strong that feels like it should be in next.
But it's doing something different. Yeah.
But because it's like bigger, they're bumping it up.
I'm curious to see how they play this out. They're also really pushing a music soundtrack for this, and when you're an indie movie, I'm curious to see what that means.
Well, yeah, last year that was TV Glow.
TV Glow had a fantastic one, and again, well, that was Midnight, but for sure, that was another really good one.
Yeah,
we got to mention this one because there's always a Barry Jenkins project in the works. Sorry, Baby. It is written, directed, starring Eva Victor, who you see right there. She has compared this to a cartoon. I don't know. Do you guys know what Raj Chast is?
I don't. I saw that was in the bio, but
no.
Yeah, so it's her like cartoons where people get like they're like very anxiety ridden.
Yeah, I've seen
so
these.
that sparks something. Yeah, she says this is the movie. I don't know why, but I keep thinking of last year's what's the one they were all trapped in the house? Her nephew gets hurt. She's got to take care of him.
Stress positions.
Oh,
yes.
Positions.
The funny thing, though, is this one comes produced by Barry Jenkins. So he's seen something in this. The cast isn't bad.
And I'm pretty intrigued by it because Ava Victor is this person who got like quite big on social media with like TikTok, Instagram videos. Yeah. And maybe like 2 or 3 years ago, almost entirely stopped posting, and I guess it was to like make this shift into feature filmmaking. So I'm very curious. Someone who I found, even think I recommended one of her TikToks on Intercut on a slow week. To see her evolution from social media content to a full blown movie will be interesting. And as you mentioned, like with Barry Jenkins and his producing team attached, like this isn't some
joke.
Frivolous endeavor. Exactly. Yeah. Amanda pointed out Lucas Hedges, who has not been on our screens in a little while, is going to be in this one.
I may like him now, bro. Also, this guy who's on the come up too. Not just from Killers of the Flower Moon.
Yeah.
He did decent in The Penguin. Louis canceled me. They have not. He is in everything. So Zach gets to go from shouting out a TikTok to shouting out a feature film. The last thing Barry produced for this festival in this category was no joke. It was the one that was all picture moments. All Dirt Roads Taste of Salt. So I would always keep an eye on him coming in to do stuff here. But to wrap up the category right here, this is the biggest one out of all of them. Sunfish and Other Stories on Green Lake. A story that's kind of autobiographical. I believe it's an anthology as well. It follows different residents in this town that the director grew up in. So she shot it in her grandparents' cottage and stuff. So another little personal tale to tell there. But overall, that is the U.S. dramatic competition. I think we got some good picks, bro. We've got people lying. We've got people trying. We've got people dying. We've got a little bit of everything that you can have in a movie here. I'm excited for it. For me, like I said, I think Atropia may be one I want to watch with the crowd. They're all online. Ooh. Anyone can watch these online. I think Atropia and Ricky are the two that I would want to see in person.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many good ones. I think
so many.
Bubble and Squeak and Omaha are probably the ones that I'm prioritizing, but I want to see all these on the big screen.
Yeah.
I gotta jump on Bunnylovr. I gotta do it.
Yeah.
I've let my heart guide me before, and it's never led me astray.
All right. So we got good picks right there for most of the ones that are coming out of the festival. The next category that we move on to is one that I think produces pretty good movies. Many times, however, I think I heard you guys saying this before. When you got a world dramatic movie, you may want to go to Berlin. You may want to go to Cannes.
Right.
Because sometimes it comes here and it has a really good premise, right? But it doesn't have the legs that those festivals give the world.
This year, I also am not loving the premises either. Like, nothing's really sticking out to me at all in this category.
Let me try to pitch some to y'all.
Maybe a little bit.
Yeah, maybe I can get some on your radar. I know Zach was going to say something beforehand.
Sorry.
Yeah, well, I was just going to say, like, this is a category that is a little, like, I think it can be maybe thinner than some of the other categories at Sundance because, when you have auteurs from around the world, they tend to go to Cannes or Berlin before they go to Sundance. But it doesn't mean that good movies haven't premiered here from interesting filmmakers, like Run, Roll a Run, which is a classic, premiered at Sundance in this category in 1999. Your boy, Denis, premiered Maelstrom here in 2001. And I know you're a big fan of identifying features in 2020.
Yes. But last year... Yeah.
Exactly, right. Like, these are more under the radar indie foreign films.
Personal,
last year, this category produced films like Girls Will Be Girls, Reinas, Sebastian. So, like, you have a movie that was submitted by its country to be an Oscar nominee. You have films that I think we all thought were, like, interesting and worthwhile, but maybe not the splashiest of the categories at Sundance.
Exactly.
Well Sebastian.
Put. Which is why for this category, I'm going to give you some of the ones that I think are interesting to know, even though they may not be the biggest ones. The first thing I noted was there's a lot of NC-17 movies. That's what I was very surprised by.
Yeah.
For starters, Sauna is a movie that is getting hit. Yeah, you saw that, right?
Yeah.
Right at the bottom, you'll see where they tell you different things like, hey, this film contains mature content or whatever else. But when it says not recommended for 17 and under, to me, that is pushing NC-17, usually because of sex stuff. So this is about a guy who was making this film while their partner was transitioning during filming. And it's a gay guy going all throughout Copenhagen. There's another movie that also got the NC-17 rating called Cactus, Pears or Sabar, Bonda. Also getting NC-17 with non-professional actors mixed in there. Again, I'm with Amanda. It kind of feels like the next category had 30 movies.
Yeah.
And they split them to everything.
Started splitting them around, yeah.
Yeah, it's really interesting. Another one, DJ Ahmet, is pushing its soundtrack as well. As a 15-year-old tries to get out there, get his music seen. This one's kind of interesting, also pushing an indie soundtrack about a 19-year-old and a guy who want to flee away, do their own thing. But there's
Where
always,
the Wind Comes From?
Where the Wind Comes From, sorry. But there's always this one that gets picked up by Neon in the Sundance category, in the World Dramatic category. Yeah.
This was the one I'm like, this could go so many ways. Is this based on that real story or is this a different one?
I don't know if it's based specifically on one real story, but it is based on a trend we've seen. So this film that Neon picked up is called Brides, and it follows two teenage girls who run away from their lives in the UK by traveling to Syria to become betrothed. And obviously this is a thing, a fascinating kind of element of the real world that I don't think I've seen dramatized in this way before. So that alone...
Certainly not with smiling fucking faces.
That's how they would be doing them, you know? They don't know that they're going to be in a world dramatic movie.
Exactly. I mean, the plot description calls it a nuanced feature. So I'm hoping it's going to explore the nuances of a situation like that. And that it has the backing of a company like Neon pre-premiere will say a lot.
Yeah, for sure.
So we'll see.
Scary.
Yeah, it still didn't make it in my top 10. In my top 5 from this. I think you guys should check out Two Women. This is coming from a director who's adapting Two Women in the Gold, a 1970s movie. I think this might be a little bit better in terms of actually having a drama that's out there. You also have a movie starring the one and only Isabelle Huppert. This is called Loose. It's supposed to be 3 storylines happening, one after the other. And one of them is someone trying to find their lover or parent through VR.
Oh, that's cool. I missed that detail.
I don't know how that's going to be combined with hers, but you got a pretty good cast in there, so I'm curious to see what they do with Loose. But then we get to the ones that I would really, really recommend. The Things You Kill is a great title.
This is on my list, too.
Yeah,
it's a dramatic thriller that comes from the director who did a movie called Terrestrial Versus. I think this is an under-the-radar pick from this year. I want to say Iranian filmmaker who pretty much sits down a bunch of people, including themselves, and has to get interrogated by the government, which is what they do over there. This guy's interrogated on screen that you see for his tattoos, and he can't go through until they check them all. The director's in the movie. He's a director who needs to get his script checked, and they make him cut every page that is not allowed to be in the movie. I am 100% interested to see what he's going to be doing with this one. It looks fascinating. It looks like it's very well shot. It is about a suspicious death of the main character's ailing mother. A university professor coerces his enigmatic gardener to execute a cold-blooded act of vengeance.
Ooh, yeah.
To me, this is going to be one that might stand out from the festival.
Yeah.
Premiere at the Egyptian, too. That's always fun.
That's nice.
Yeah, we were talking about how this category doesn't always have the most exciting films. A lot of them are like talky dramas that take on social issues, which can be very fascinating. But this feels like an antidote to that, something that maybe would be a little bit more viscerally thrilling.
Look at this thumbnail, bro. The Virgin of Quarry Lake. A girl's trying to, get with the boys who are in there. She thinks she's in love with one of the guys. And then another dude comes in. And, I don't know what would cause you to get this thumbnail up there. But I think it's a standout one. It looks like it's just your average coming-of-age thing. But they're pitching it as a horror romance.
I didn't catch the horror aspect of it. I think it's because I didn't actually go through the Sundance pages for a lot of these. I went through Deadline's aggregate things so I could just go through quickly and then
forget Deadline. We got you, Amanda.
Yeah, thank you. Some of them I went in specifically to go look at more details, but this was definitely one of the ones that,
Also 2001, so I'm curious to see what the backdrop era is gonna. To me, if anything, it means the director's gonna know how to whatever period of time, she was in, be able to reenact that. But
hopefully. Because we've seen some stuff recently where they have not done
we've seen some bad ones,
2003 well at all. But 2000, hell yeah.
It looks interesting to me. My top one, though, Sukkwan Island, a psychological thriller starring the sexy lawyer from Anatomy of a Fall.
Oh,
there's something about this one, bro. I think it's going to work out.
Now. I'm on board with the category again.
You got two people out there. I want to say it's him and his 13-year-old. They're trying to spend a year out in the Norwegian forest. And I don't know. It could either be super boring, don't get it twisted. But you put psychological thriller out there, I'm thinking they're going to be jumping around this year, seeing how they bond with each other or what they learn.
The plot description also talks about it as like a test of survival against the elements, which sounds quite exciting to me. This was top of my list for this category as well.
So, there's still some good ones. Even in the world category, check out that one. Check out the best thumbnail so far of the fest, in my opinion, which is The Virgin of Quarry Lake. And then I'm even throwing the Things You Kill in there. So, still getting a nice little chunk from all the categories so far. But we've done US, we've done world. The next category is the next category. And this is a category that is still going to be played in online screening. So, you'll be able to catch this at home if you are interested in it. This would be the last bit of the narratives that you get to watch. I don't know if y'all went through the next category. These are all movies that do something different. I always say it's going to either bring you the next in cinema or you're just going to want to yell next. Give me the next movie out here. What y'all got? Or actually, Zach, remind people what has been in this so they kind of get previous movies that have done.
Spree.
I mean, exactly, right? These are all movies that are sort of designed to push the boundaries of like what we normally accept in films. And in the last couple of years, I feel like it's been a lot of films that incorporate technology. Amanda's beloved Spree, Art's beloved Searching are some great examples of that.
Also beloved.
But even stuff like Sean Baker's iPhone filmed film Tangerine was in Sundance in 2015.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Good category.
Kogonada's movie Columbus from 2017, also in this category.
Oh, that's
right. Not entirely sure why, but yeah. So you sometimes get
next
these
level, Zach.
Next level.
Sometimes you get these really exciting visions from soon-to-be beloved filmmakers. Last year, I think my favorite movie in this category was Kneecap, which is doing well on Netflix right now. The Irish rapper film. It's definitely a category that has some gems in there.
And then some stuff they try to force on you that isn't that good, like Love Me.
That's why they put them in there. All right, so let's talk about it because there's a lot of hybrids. There's a lot of interesting things. My number one was Clear as Can Be. I'm curious to know what you guys had at the top.
I think I had a couple, honestly.
Shoot.
Oh my God. I don't know. You go first, Zach.
I think the one that stood out to me the most was OBEX. I don't know if you guys took a quick... Yeah. So this one is from filmmaker Albert Bierny, whose last film was featured in the Sundance the year where it was all digital, Strawberry Mansion. Don't know how well you guys remember that one.
Oh, I do.
Very well.
I'm now less excited. Sorry.
Amanda, it made me more excited, and then I heard him talk, and it made me less excited. His Meet the Author was not the best.
Oh, no.
Uh-oh. Well, look, Strawberry Mansion, I would say that I was not like a huge fan of that movie, but I was also pretty impressed with the visuals of that film. Like on a production design level, the way that the film uses color is quite astounding. No color in this movie. It is shot in black and white and set in 1987. It's about a guy who gets a new computer game, but then the lines between reality and the game begin to blur when his dog goes missing. And if there's a movie where a dog goes missing, I'm on edge the entire time. I want the dog to be safe. But I just think the visuals look pretty compelling. There's that one shot on the Sundance page with the shadow being cast against the wall. Not that one, but another one, Art.
This one.
Yeah. It just looks like a compelling, really visually compelling film.
Yeah.
I had it a little bit high as well when I read it. I like Strawberry Mansions. It was a movie that they had the balls to tell you, kind of watch it when you're falling asleep. It might work better. And they weren't wrong. There's just something weird about that thing where it just,
it's hypnotic.
It's hypnotic. Yeah. I feel like this is going to be the exact same thing for OBEX. But as I've said, when you're on the pages, you can come down. You can see a little bit about the Meet the Artist. And you can also hear them talk. They really want your cookies this year. But you can play this on YouTube. And man, he had me until he started talking a bit. So I'm a little worried with it. But hey, I'm so excited because the premise is interesting. And it's another one where it's in 1987. So we'll see what the period does with it. I like this picture. Fun. This picture had me, bro.
Me too. I was like, okay, let's see what you got.
So we'll see. OBEX was pretty good, though.
For mine, I think I'm going to go with Reigns over Babel, actually, which is you're basically, by the sounds of it, they're kind of like gambling with death for years of their life. Is kind of what I thought I read. So that could be interesting. I don't know why. I just saw like it's supposed to be vibrant characters. This is like one of those movies I feel like is either really going to work for me or I'm going to hate it. But as of right now, it's a little bit higher up. I like the idea of gambling with time and like your life and stuff. It kind of reminds me a little bit of Death Note, the anime, obviously. I don't know. It just seemed interesting. So... yeah.
It reminded us a little bit of not necessarily Problemista, but I don't know if you got to see his show, Julio Torres' show on
the
Fantasmas,
Fantasmas, thank you. Yeah. Because here it says a group of misfits converge at Babel already, the name of the bar, a legendary dive bar that doubles as purgatory. So they could do something interesting in the next category with that, right? So we'll see how it goes. Reigns over Babel is going to be playing there. I still had two other ones in my top. But to mention some of the extra ones that were here, bro, there is a movie called Mad Bills to Pay or Destiny, Dile que no soy malo. What?
I had it on my list.
What is this, bro? Rico Summer is a wild mix of chasing girls and hustling homemade cocktails out of a cooler on Orchard Beach in the Bronx. But when Destiny, his teenage girlfriend, crashes at his place with his family, it's only a matter of time before things start spiraling. I don't even know, but with a title like that, you knew it had to be in the next category. There was another one called Black News Terms and Conditions. I've heard of this term, Black News. Like, I've seen the short or like a YouTube page with it. I don't know if you know anything about Khalil Joseph, Zach, but like, I mean, Lemonade director, Travis Scott, Circus Maximus, he's out there. This is supposed to be like his curation of a journalism journey, like not even the outlet. I don't know. It sounds interesting. Whatever his Black News, I can't even call it a persona or an outlet. I don't know what it is. It's a style of journalism, I guess. But that's what we will be seeing here in Black News Terms and Conditions. Again, not a doc, not a narrative, but a next category. I think the big three from the next category would be Zodiac Killer Project, a movie where a guy made a film trying to figure out true crime, but he abandoned it. So now he's revisiting it. So it's a movie about the movie he didn't make, where he's not even sure if he wants to finish this movie. This can be an absolute mess, or it could be one of the funniest movies out there about true crime and not finishing true crime.
My funny thing about this is that it looks interesting and you're kind of looking at the idea of true crime where it's gone. I have a feeling that there's a really good chance that this is just going to feel like it should be on YouTube.
The exact same thing again. That's what I'm worried on because we have some next category.
Yeah, not even the same thing again, but just like it feels like there's so many different channels who do very good critiques of the true crime genre, who break down old cases like this, and they do really good and creative jobs of it, and they just put it on YouTube, and this person's just putting it in a film festival. So there is actually just like a reality where there's better coverage of this somewhere else. But I'm very interested to see it. I'm super interested to see it.
Zach, what was the typing one from last year where they did the
Seeking Mavis
Beacon. Seeking Mavis Beacon, yeah.
Seeking Mavis.
This was a movie I was so intrigued by, and I think this applies to what Amanda just said. It's not bad, but it's like a personal tale to make a YouTube video on, not the next category.
Yeah.
And look, great poster here, too. I kind of see this one the same way as well. It's like, okay, you didn't finish your project, buddy. Now you got a Sundance movie? Let's go. Okay. But who knows? Maybe it works. It might work because this next one that I have is kind of similar.
It's on mine, yeah.
In Serious People, this music video director who has worked with Bad Bunny, Rosalia, J Balvin, The Weeknd, Madonna, Travis Scott, won an MTV award. But did he win it or did he send his doppelganger? He was about to have a kid, so he casts all these people to come in and fill his place. And I love this.
Yeah.
Not for his family. It's like reverse click. He's not fast forwarding with those intimate moments. He wants to be there and he wants to send these guys to the red carpet. Dude, this might be the one.
Yeah.
I have high hopes for this one. Yeah. Co-directors on this bad boy. They've made like one short before, but I don't know. There's something about this one that I think is really going to hit. The closest it reminds me of is that episode. There's an episode of the HBO show we like where he filmed everything, Zach.
Nathan Fielder's The Rehearsal, yeah.
Not The Rehearsal, but he was producer.
The Curse?
It wasn't Nathan Fielder. It was the other guy documents everything.
Joe Pera?
John Wilson?
John
Wilson?
Thank you. Yeah, there's an episode I want to say around season 2 of John Wilson where he wants to send someone to his Emmys stuff because he's like, I got to do all this. Oh, this is what the press tour looks like to win an award. And it feels like that's all this guy is going to be venting on. So I'm very excited to see what he does there. But I'm going to keep my number one as simple as it was when it won my attention and is honestly in my top 3 of the fest. There's a movie called By Design that simply tells you a woman swaps bodies with a chair and everyone likes her better as a chair.
Better
I'm not saying anything else. Ladies and gentlemen,
fun.
This is your movie of Sundance right here.
Yeah, that's up there.
Our buddy Mirjani, who's a former guest on the podcast, messaged me about one movie from Sundance and one movie only.
As he should.
It was this one, By Design.
I always want to know what makes Mirjani message certain people about certain things.
He sent me tell that I'm into chairs.
Because he sent me the Pee Wee Herman one, and I was like, I don't like Pee Wee Herman.
Have you ever mentioned Pee Wee Herman?
Yeah, I don't like Pee Wee Herman.
That's so random.
I don't dislike Pee Wee Herman. I just have no feelings, I guess.
That's
but
crazy
anyway,
because he sent me Brides, and I was like, what? We've never. This one to me is going to stand out. The director made Please Baby Please, so I already know they're in that wacky mood. Juliette Lewis.
Yeah.
Complete faith in.
Down to Clown.
It's like underrated, but not really underrated because it's Juliette Lewis. Mamadou Athie, Udo Kier, Clifton Collins Jr. I'm in, bro. This is exactly the wacky type of movie that you need to have there. But
absolutely.
Hey, those are the biggest categories for most of you who are going to be tuning in to the Sundance Film Festival. We've given you our recommendations for U.S. Dramatic, World Dramatic, and Next. All of the feature film narratives that are going to be available online. We'll be wrapping all of our picks as well once we're done with all of it. But this next section of movies are only movies you can catch at the festival. That means these are films like Past Lives, where people were coming out really raving about it. But it wasn't going to be out yet. These are not going to be online. We're going through the premiere movies, films where filmmakers have already done something and are coming to premiere a massive film. It's not in competition. A lot of these filmmakers, especially for this year, are filmmakers who have been at Sundance but are coming back after like 10 years. We also have the Midnight category, one family matinee, and a spotlight. I'll go through those a lot quicker. Spotlight is a category.
Before we talk about all those movies that are not available online, talk about one last thing that is available online that I know a lot of people are going to be really excited about.
My bad. How could I?
How could you?
The indie darling himself, Zach. You're correct.
Yeah, can't
I just wanted to
forget
skip him. I'm sorry. I wanted to be a part of the haters with this group, but tell him the boys back.
Cooper.
Tell him the boys back.
Cooper Rafe, Sundance King
him.
himself, He's back in a way that I did not expect, because we've heard about this like hockey movie that he's working on. I think he even announced another movie after that, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, an episodic series, Hal and Harper, directed by Cooper Raiff, starring Lily Reinhart, Addison Tamlin, Cooper Raiff, and Mark Ruffalo. There's not a whole lot of plot out there. The description from Sundance says Hal and Harper and Dad chart the evolution of their family. But look, Cooper Raiff is responsible for Amanda's favorite movie out of Sundance 2022. And I think a lot of people agreed with her on that one. So definitely got to keep this one on our radar, particularly because, Art, you pointed out something interesting to me about watching this online versus seeing it in person at Sundance.
If you are there in person, you only get to see the first 4 episodes. There's a total of 8, which everybody gets to see if you see it online. Now, y'all may have to help me with this, but do you buy tickets for episodic, or is it like the shorts program where you buy the shorts and you get it with it?
I have no idea, actually.
Yeah, I've never tried to buy a ticket for an episodic online.
But I remember shouting that out because you can get all the shorts as one package. They may include the episodic, and the difference there is that unlike all of these feature films, you got to be on a time because I think you get 24 hours to watch them. These are available the entire fest. So do know that it is a whopping 8 episodes, but I already know what day we're going to watch it together. Yeah. This is 8 back. We're either going to see them when we come back and we got nothing to watch other than like a nice 30-minute episode to put on for all 8 days, or this is our Saturday dedicated to Cooper Raiff. But just know that you will have the entire festival, from what I recall, on how the shorts and the episodic stuff works. Because there's a total of 6 episodic stuff. This will be a whole series. The Pee Wee Herman is a docu-series. There's one more that I'm blanking on. And then 3 pilot episodes. So you're not getting the series, you're just getting pilots. But the one that we definitely need to mention was Hal and Harper. And Zach's right. They're keeping this so under wraps. Look at this. They got the same picture twice, bro. Yeah. They couldn't even get it. They already know. But yeah, that's going to be a good one. It's actually better to watch that one online unless you wanted to see Cooper. Because he should be there.
And I do.
There you go. Keep an eye out for that one.
Might pop in for an episode. Might pop in.
First 4 and then just wrap the last one, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That's all you need. But then from there, we do move on to all the stuff that's only going to be in person. There are still tickets out there. I don't know if there's Airbnbs for y'all, but if you find a way to get there, there may be a chance for you to still snatch up some of these movies, the big contenders that are coming out.
At the very least, these are movies to add to your watch list.
Yep. Okay. Zach, I see you have one pointed out here as one of the big ones. But first, let people know why the premiere section stands out from past years.
Yeah, well, at least for last year's festival, I think this is where a lot of the movies that people have heard of debuted. This is where Will and Harper debuted, as far as documentaries are concerned. But as far as narratives are...
Hal and Harper?
Will and Harper? Will and Harper? Yeah. Couldn't find any other title for that, but whatever. Some of the bigger narratives last year were movies like The Outrun, which I think was in the Oscars conversation. Not so sure if it still is, but Saoirse Ronan's in that one.
She was in the conversation. I don't think it was.
Good point. Good correction there. Mild Ass, a really beloved movie that's on Amazon now with Aubrey Plaza.
That was
Presence.
Premiere, damn.
Yeah.
Presence, which is the really effective Steven Soderbergh ghost movie that's going to be out in January, as well as our beloved Sasquatch Sunset.
Woo! Oh, the one Amanda got us out of the house for. Yeah.
Sasquatch that was me. No, I love telling the story of Zach just sliding the keys across the banister when something happened, and I stayed the whole time. It was fun.
Oh man, so the premieres category, it's completely stacked. I actually want to start this in reverse. I wanted to do the spotlight category because these are the tinier ones. Before we get into it, the spotlight category. I know you had 2 that you mentioned. If you want to mention those really quick, we'll go through these.
Yeah, well, spotlight is specifically. For movies that have had premieres at other film festivals that are then getting a run at Sundance. Usually it's like their North American premiere or at least their American premiere. And like last year, we had a couple bangers in Hitman from Richard Linklater as well as How to Have Sex. This year, it's a much thinner category. There's only 2 films in Spotlight. For now, maybe they'll announce a couple more later. But the one that stood out... Yeah. The one that stood out to me from Spotlight was April. Because I've been hearing some really good things about this one.
And another Luca produced.
Damn.
Luca Guadagnino.
She did Beginning. This has been on my watch list for a minute. I want to say it's on Mubi, so I might have to do a double feature with this in April. So I've heard good things for this one. Are y'all not tired of Yoko Ono and John stuff?
I now believe I've seen the seminal version of this story with a Lindsay Ellis video, and I'm not even joking. This is me saying that sometimes some YouTubers make really impressive pieces of media.
It's really good.
I would honestly just recommend watching the Lindsay Ellis video about John and Yoko, because it also pulls in some stuff with like Kurt and Courtney, which I thought was interesting. Maybe this is really good. I don't know. I'm just saying that for free right now on YouTube, you can watch a Lindsay Ellis video about this.
You got something ready. Yeah, that'll be out, because again, we're talking about 2 movies that are only in person.
Yeah, the 1-to-1 John and Yoko premiered at Venice last year, and I mean, it's got a 3.5 average on Letterboxd, so some people seem to like it.
I mean, they got that Oscar from last year.
Specific. It is very specifically about like the 18 months.
So
we'll see. Maybe it's different. Who knows?
And then very simple, in the Family Matinee, which they've switched, it used to be the kids section. Now it's Family Matinee. I don't know about y'all. I like that a lot more. Much better title.
Much better title.
They usually do 2. Here they're doing 1. The Legend of Ochi, the movie that got belittled when people called it AI, when supposedly this man had worked so hard on crafting this film together with his own VFX company and everything. Only in person. Comes out February. Right around the corner. But, hey, nice to have the Sundance label on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, for people who are perhaps traveling to Sundance with children, it's nice to have an option, because there are not a lot of family-friendly movies there. I'm really curious about this one, though.
I honestly think that the Sundance plug, like the label for it, boosted it up a little bit higher for me for when it comes out in theaters. But good for him.
Not curious enough to watch it when it's going to be out the week after I get back from Sundance, though.
Which is why you're watching it the week at Sundance. Zach, going to the Redstone. Let's go. All right. Now, the premiere section, we are splitting it between the docs that we'll mention afterwards. But the big part here is the premiere narrative features. There is a total, I think I marked it over here, 14.
That's a lot.
14 narrative feature films. What do y'all have at the top of your list?
I think Lurker might be at the top of at least one of them in terms of like just an interesting premise. It's a retail employee.
Let's go.
That one's up there. You got a retail employee who's like infiltrates a inner circle of a specific artist when he's about to blow up. I'm interested in a couple of reasons. I deal with weird people. I'm always interested to see movies from weird people perspectives. I got a fresh email today with just just some words of affirmation. That felt weirder than the crazy stuff. But yeah, this seems interesting. I want to see what direction it goes in. I want to see like the needle drop moment when someone realizes that some weird shit's happening, if they ever do. Because obviously you usually end up with people who I feel like sometimes it's never the focus of your obsession that notices. Sometimes it's going to be their outer circle. You kind of get the salt burn thing where like, Buddy realizes that guy's weird, and the Ripley thing where it's like Marge realizes that Buddy's weird. So I'm just really interested by this one, and I think they can do a lot with the premise.
Yeah, and I think they've got a particularly interesting writer for dealing with a premise like that. The writer and director of this film is a guy named Alex Russell, who has some experience working on Beef for Netflix and The Bear on FX. He also does some work with Zach Fox, who is one of the many interesting cast members in this film. I'm really curious about this cast. We have Theodore Pellerin, who you might remember as the boy from Never, Rarely, Sometimes, Always, another Sundance alum. Archie Mandekwe, who is kind of on his way up. He was the star of, what was it, Gran Turismo, and had a really memorable part in Saltburn. This is literally the guy I
met. This is the guy I was like, this is the one that noticed. This is the guy that noticed he was a weirdo.
Right.
Oh, yeah. No, and he's good, bro.
He's
Nick
good.
Somar, he's got that side role. He's the kid in Bo. I like Archie.
Yeah.
Havana Rose Liu from Bodies, Bodies.
And didn't see her.
Is the aforementioned Zach Fox.
No, bro. Do not disrespect Chicken Nugget Kid.
Chicken Nugget Kid.
I just don't know him by his real name. I know him as Chicken. They should list him in the credits as Chicken
They
Nugget
should list him
Kid.
as Chicken Nugget Kid, right? I agree.
Yeah.
Because in the same way, they cannot be listening Sonny Soljek. You need to call him mid-90s Kid is also
Is
in
that
this.
what he looks like now?
Boy, you got mid-90s and Chicken Nugget Kid fully grown now in this movie. And like Zach said, look at these boys.
Look at those
and
boys.
then Zach Fox.
Look at these men.
Look at
We
these
are in
men.
for a mess.
Yeah.
We are in for a mess. I'm fully excited for this. Other random notes. Y'all excited for the new Lily Collins produced movie Lurker?
Yeah, she's
I don't know why she's on it. And it's a Thunderbolts writer. Like, that's their biggest person who's on this movie is going to be someone who's credited, I guess you could say, with an asterisk on Thunderbolts. But I am excited for this guy because he did the music video for the Saturation Brockhampton mixtapes.
Nice.
He's been in the music world already, so I can only imagine what he's going to take from there and apply it to the story. This is, I think, top 5 out of the festival for me, and yet still top 2 in this category. Zach, what else stands out to you?
I think one movie that stands out to me in the premieres section is If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You.
My number
Not just
one.
because
that's
there
right
we
up there for
go.
me too. It's right up there for me too.
I mean, not just because it's got one of the best titles in Sundance, but like you got Rose Byrne as the star here as a woman whose life is crashing down around her. But her co-stars are Conan O'Brien and ASAP Rocky.
What?
Yeah.
Insane.
And Chicken Nugget Kid. He's in 2.
He's back?
He's back.
There he's back.
Wow. Unbelievable.
Now that I know what his name is.
We do love our
think this would be
Sundance
good.
2s here.
Yeah.
Yeah, our doubles.
And it's a comedy drama already picked up by A24. I know many times we're like, oh, it's already
I didn't
picked
know
up or
that.
something, but in premieres, I'm fine with it because that's the point of it. You're premiering the movie. I don't want to see something in competition already picked up. This is where I like to see it. Yeah, I think this would be very funny. I'm all in with this, bro. Through and through. Another one that I have is...
Ooh.
Tell me.
This might just be completely unfounded speculation. So this is the second film from Mary Braunstein. Is that Carrie Braunstein from Portlandia's sister or something like that, maybe?
Look, I'm pulling up her picture right here, and I can see the girl from Portlandia complaining about the chicken not being
Right?
farm raised, but I can't confirm that.
Oh, no, it's Brownstein. There's an extra letter in Carrie's name, so no, they're not related. That's
Maybe they're
completely
cousins.
unfounded on my part. Yeah.
You're the cousins. They dropped the W.
Yeah.
We'll see. I haven't seen her past stuff, but hey, if she's got the juice, this is going to be funny. Like Zach said, incredible cast. To have Conan as your second and ASAP as your third, I don't know.
That's got to be something. That's got to be something.
It's going to have to be something. So I'm excited for that one. Y'all mentioned my number 1, my number 2. Rounding up my number 3, you got to give it to the OG internet girl,
Yeah.
Chloe Sevigny. I think has 2 movies, but this is her lead.
Yeah. And we got Simon Rex, Alex Wolff.
It's a great cast, and I'm going all in on this quirkiness because the
Magic
director
Farm.
previously made
El
El
Planeta.
Planeta, and I loved the weirdness.
Yes.
Yeah, gotta tell Karsten. He loved that one too.
Yeah.
This is one of those where like Magic Farm may be the one to put her on people's radar, and they're gonna pretend like they saw El Planeta. No, we were there. Since the
there.
beginning. This looks like it's going to be super quirky. A film crew working for an edgy media company travels to Argentina to profile a local musician, played by Chloe. But their ineptitude leads them into the wrong country. As the crew collaborates with locals to fabricate a trend, unexpected connections blossom while a pervasive health crisis looms in the background. She hit the tone perfectly on the last one. And now you got an even better actress, because I think she starred in it herself for El Planeta. Now it's Chloe, Alex, Simon. This is my third runner-up here. I think this is going to be a hit.
Yeah, it sounds really exciting.
looking
I'm really curious about that one. I actually think I skimmed over that premise a little too quickly because it's a very funny idea.
Yeah, that one was right up there for me too. I also had All That's Left of You.
Following up
Looked
my
like-
bit right here. Very good movie, yeah.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be really good.
This
I
one's
kinda-
about a Palestinian teen who confronts Israeli soldiers, and it's told through 3 different generations.
Yeah.
You guys were talking about doubles. I think we got a double coming in here. The director in all of her movies has had Aliyah Shawkat.
Oh.
So
Very
she's not
cool.
credited here yet. I see her popping up. Her movies have always been about Palestinians in America. Amrika, in 2009, sounds like everything people are saying right now. So if she was ahead of it 15 years ago, I can
Yeah.
only imagine what she's about to say now.
Yeah.
I see this one as being a massive contender. She stars and directs it. That's her right there.
Hell yeah. I love that.
It's very cool.
Yeah.
Zach, the one I told you, I think is going to be the new Farewell.
This is
Let's
the
hear
one
it.
you think is going to be the... Oh, you... Okay.
I think the Wedding Banquet is going to be the new Farewell. I think we're going to see a side of Bo and Yang we haven't seen.
I'm really excited for this one, not just because it's Bo and Yang, but beyond Bo and Yang, you have Lily Gladstone in this cast as well.
Ridiculous.
Ooh.
Yeah. And this one comes from a director that we like quite a bit too, in Andrew Ahn. Previously worked with Bowen on Fire Island, but I really loved his previous film Driveways with Hong Chow.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I see this as a combination of the two. He's going to have the funny and light drama that he had in Fire, and then the more drama, slightly funny from here. I think he combines those, and he ends up making his best film yet in The Wedding
Could see it. I could definitely see it.
So. Kelly Marie
speaking
Tran's
of-
also in it.
Yeah, and also Joan Chen, who was in last year's Sundance film Dile.
Yeah.
Finally getting a campaign for it because people are realizing there's not enough supporting and they're giving it to her. This one's already picked up by Bleecker Street, so you could say it's got a very nice cosign coming with it.
Very cool.
So I think that was going to be pretty good.
Another one from this category that I'm quite curious about is Jimpa. Is that on any of y'all's radars?
Yeah.
Next up, look at those. Look at the cast. How could you not?
Yeah. I mean, the image is of John Lithgow hugging Olivia Colman. So
Like, come on.
oftentimes I like to say, like, if I see enough to get me interested in a movie, I stop researching. That was enough right there. But I did look a little bit more at it. It's about Olivia Colman's character, Hannah, taking her non-binary teenager to Amsterdam to visit their great-grandfather, their gay grandfather, who is played by John Lithgow here. So it seems like a premise that's rife for, coming of age and emotional connections and stuff. And it just got two of the most, like, delightful but also heartfelt presences in Hollywood. Like, I think
I agree.
They're so good at playing these funny, irreverent characters, but have this realness and ability to break your heart as well. I'm probably going to cry a lot at this movie.
There's a lot of premieres that have big actors in it, and this was the one that I had the highest as, like, I think you guys are going to perform very well. Benedict Cumberbatch has one about, like, grief.
Oh, yeah.
Things with the Feathers that should be good.
I didn't even realize that was him.
Right, because you could barely see him in it.
Yeah.
But it's like there's a lot of big leads coming in. Him with that one. And then Carey Mulligan's got another one as well.
Carey Mulligan.
Where it's picked up by Focus and it's about music. These two could also be good. I feel like they're really going to ride on the performances.
Yeah.
The only intriguing thing about the Things with the Feathers is, y'all remember Meet Me in the Bathroom Stall?
Yeah.
This is his feature film debut.
Oh, cool.
Narrative-wise, I should say.
Yeah.
Acting-wise, we'll see how those two go. But
Wow.
after the Jimbo one that Zach had mentioned, which I think has strong performances.
Nice.
Come on, bro. We're talking about the director who just did 2 years ago, Passages. And we gave him a nomination.
Yes.
Now it's going to be Ben Whishaw and Rebecca Hall, directed by Ira Sachs. This is going to be good.
So this one's called Peter Huger's Day. I don't know,
Something like
but
that,
just the fact that we're reuniting Whishaw with Andrew Sachs. He was so incredible in Passages.
Passages was great.
Yeah,
So.
Ira Sachs, I should say. I'm mixing up Andrew Ahn and Ira Sachs.
But we already got the confirmation there. He was supporting in Passages, so I can only imagine how much better he's going to be here. And I think Rebecca Hall, that's just going to be a 2 for there. Another point for Jimpa, in case you need another asterisk with it. The director of Good Luck to You, Leo Grand.
Oh.
Yes. I even liked their previous film, 52 Tuesdays. So definitely an interesting
catch
director.
52 Tuesdays. Yeah, I think I've had that on my list for a bit. But this was one, the first year we all went to Sundance together. This played.
Right.
Animals. Was
Oh
really
my
a shock
God.
at. So they've been there as well. This is what I mean by, like, it's directors coming back after a minute. So, hey, shout out Jimpa,
Damn.
Peter Hujar's Days. We said The Ballad. Bunch of good ones that are out there. I guess just wrapping it up again with really big actors in these movies. Train Dreams has been getting pushed a bit because this is the director-writer team, however you want to call it. Ready? This guy and his
Jockey.
partner, Greg. And I think, like, actual partner.
Yeah.
Greg is the director of Sing Sing.
Right.
But he produced Jockey, which he wrote. And then the other guy produced Sing Sing, which then does that make sense? They've been making the same movies together. They have another one. It is called Train Dreams, and it stars Joel Edgerton, Felicity Jones, Carrie Condon, some guy named William H. Macy. They're adapting a novella all about like laborers on the American Railroad. So this feels like it's going to be another one. Like I want to compare it to a what's the one that one best pick, No Man Land. But like No Man Land, that might be up my alley. Not a woman who just wanted to be out there by herself, but the actual workers that were out there. This is also one. You know, I like listening to the guy who runs the whole thing. He's been shouting this one out a lot. So I'm curious to see what they're going to be pushing for this, because he seems to see this one as the big indie darling, and rebuilding as well, because it has the one and only Josh O'Connor in it. Zach,
Josh O'Connor.
We were denied a screening for A Love Song. And then we caught it, and I thought it was incredible. They ended up hitting us up in an email, and they said, hey, we didn't get it to you for Sundance, but how about A Love Song by Intercut? Like, we were a Supreme collab. Look, I'm going to be honest, I thought it was a very beautiful movie. Don't ignore us this time, sir, because I actually do want to see the Josh O'Connor one rebuilding about a wildfire that takes out his entire farm. I already know that this person can shoot a good movie. I already know Josh O'Connor is good on screen. It's a shoo-in. Give it to me. I hope it works out. But the last one that I think you guys were mentioning prior is this little movie that's a comedy called Oh Hi, with some of the best actors out there. Molly Gordon.
That's on
I'm actually going to skip. I'm going to skip Logan Lerman and go to Geraldine Viswan, who I think is going to be the funnier one in this film.
You're going to skip Logan?
What's a funny Logan movie?
I'm not thinking about funny. I'm just thinking about Logan. You have to support your intercut cutie girlies.
I will.
The cutie girlies.
But Oh Hi looks decent. It looks decent. I don't know if y'all have anything to add to that one.
It looks fun. I'm interested. I feel like it's one of those ones that could be amazing. Molly Gordon has yet to really let me down. You know, she's been in Booksmart. She's been in Shiva Baby. She made Theater Camp. Like, if she's choosing to be in a movie, it usually means it's good.
Yeah.
I don't, she's in The Bear.
Yeah.
I like her.
Sometimes you can trust an actor's taste, and it seems like Molly has pretty strong taste.
Yeah, and I thought she was like pretty involved in this one. I could be wrong, but just based on like social media posts, it seemed like she was like pretty into it. So
I want to root for it.
Yeah, me too.
Hey, I have it above the last two, which are the very obvious picks. You guys said it before. There's a J-Lo movie here. You always get those two big movies. They're here for publicity. Kiss of the Spider Woman, a remake. First thing Amanda noticed, is this a big one? Looked at the director and said,
yeah, it's my boy. It's my Breaking Dawn boy.
Bill Condon's making your, big, massive musical that's already been a Tony winner, that's already been a massive 80s film. Yeah. EP'd by Matt Damon, Ben Affleck. I know that usually gets you guys. Diego Luna, Jennifer Lopez, not much to say here. But even then, as low as this is to me, I still have one lower, because who the hell wants a missionary movie of that dumb kid who decided to go do something? We love the directors of Boy State, who have a movie here again. They made that Mission movie, and I think it's the worst film they've made. They ruined their streak to me by making that story. And now we're getting a film version directed by, when you guys think Mormon missionaries, I want you to picture the director you think of. That's right, Tokyo Drift director Justin Lin coming in to make this missionary movie.
Makes so much sense.
I will be seated because I just need to know. I need to know what it's going to be.
I'm so pissed.
Look at the font they put on it. I'm sure that's
I can't blame them for that, but damn, that font is how I feel about this movie.
But that's like, I know that wasn't them, but like, come on.
Graphic design is my passion. Look, they don't even have the best actor listed here. They've got Naveen Andrews, which I think is going to be a side character. I love, shout out Lost. And
shout out Lost.
Dropout.
Shout out Lost. Dude, they got Toby Wallace on here. Y'all can picture Toby Wallace.
Toby Wallace?
Boy?
Yeah,
you know
of course
my boy, right?
Toby
Please,
Wallace.
thank
I
you.
know Toby Wallace.
Where's Toby Wallace? Toby Wallace. He is good. He is one of our come-up people. They use him well in The Bike Riders, Baby Teeth, all these things. I see him being an interesting aspect of this movie, but to wrap up the premieres is two movies I just don't care for there. But we have plenty of good ones. Again, these are the 14 narrative premieres, thus wrapping up most of our narrative content. The last thing is our last midnight films that we have here. And we have given y'all everything that you need to see. Zach had mentioned earlier, for the midnight films, these are also all ones that you need to see in person, which is sad because as Zach was talking, except one, but I don't think they get it, or do they get it? Let me check right here. Let me double it up.
No, they do get it. The Dead Don't Die, or whatever that one was. Don't Die.
Just don't die.
Hey, save your jokes.
Yeah.
We will comment on that. You're right.
We'll get
Never
there.
mind. Zach, let them know what has been on here because you claimed this is the second best category of the fest.
It's up there.
It might even be the first, man. In 1999, this was where Blair Witch Project premiered. Saw first premiered here before they made 10 sequels to it. Hereditary. Was that your first Sundance that Hereditary premiered in the midnight category?
Second Sundance.
I mean, close enough. The Babadook, What We Do in the Shadows, all premiered in midnight. And even last year, I think it was the best category last year. This is the category that had Love Lies Bleeding, I Saw the TV Glow, and It's What's Inside.
It's a good year.
It's decent, year. I guess, bro. It's all right.
Stop.
It does what it needs to do.
Almost every, there's a chance every single one of those is going to end up in my top 10. Probably not fully, but they're in contention. They're in consideration.
Yeah. Which is why we need to start with the one we're most anticipating, and that is, of course, the one that's available for everybody. Didn't Die. Explain to people, should they give this one a chance? How do y'all feel when you see that, though? Everything's in person except one. Are they just cool filmmakers?
They're worried.
That's what we want to believe.
Like in our flip. Remember when everything went virtual for the Harry Potter year, and only one film out of the entire festival, Final Cut, said no, thank you. Because they were French and they're like, no, we need to be in theaters. Maybe this is the opposite. They thought everyone was going to opt in.
Right.
And then they didn't.
I mean, look, there's a chance it's still good. Like, that doesn't mean anything necessarily.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Maybe we just have this bias knowing that, like, the films that tend to be the best are the ones that they don't make it that easy for you to see sometimes.
Yeah. If there was a reason to be hyped, what about the premise stands out to you?
I just think you can do a lot with, like, I looking at it maybe like more in specifics now, maybe it doesn't mean anything, but I think there's so much to be said and done about like a world that's like sunk into an apocalypse and you're just trying to seek out other people. It does seem like there's a lot more people around than I thought there would be in person for this kind of story. I think it's one of those ones I'm probably going to see it and think of all the ways it could have been better, but I'm assuming it's going to be like a little bit scary, but more of like an interpersonal thing.
Yeah.
And I do think it's interesting if we did end up in some kind of like, well, like, look at it, when the pandemic it's here kicked off, not the same thing as this, but like a lot of people turned to online creators, live streaming, all sorts of stuff like that to just get like some semblance of a personal connection that they were losing by not being able to just go about their normal days. So I definitely see if the world fell apart, I could see people going to this.
Yeah, there's a world in which a comedy or even a dramedy horror movie about, seeking connection after a world has fallen to a zombie apocalypse and using your podcast to do that could be really fun and cool. And there's also a world in which it could be an incredibly annoying premise for a movie.
Absolutely.
I'm open to it being good. I think it's also interesting. It looks like it's shot in black and white.
Yeah, it's a callback to the Romero stuff on purpose.
Which is cool.
Yeah, very.
Decent. All right, that's Didn't Die from the midnight category. What else stands out? We got just 7.
Man, it's like everything really. We got like you got Opus with IO.
Let's talk about
that's
the big one.
My top.
That's got to be the top one. You got a pop star mysteriously disappears, and then she's a journalist trying to kind of get into the thick of it, and then ends up kind of surrounded in this cult that's dedicated to this missing person. So that's just so much that can go there, and either using the term distinct final girl prescience. So I'm like, I'm down on that. We got John Malkovich in this, another Juliette Lewis.
Malkovich.
Murray
Queen
Bartlett from, what's it called?
Last of Us and White Lotus.
White Lotus was what I was thinking of. Yeah, so I think it looks pretty good. Stacked cast. The director did this really funny short. It's online. Fair use.
Yeah, okay.
Where he gets away with 30 minutes of fair use.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're going to be up my alley with that one. That's funny.
Absolutely.
Being pitched
I've heard some... sorry, I was going to say, I've just heard some chatter about this one being good as well from people in the industry who've seen it.
Ooh,
already picked up by A24, being marketed as a horror musical.
Let's go.
I'm excited.
Oh.
I'm excited. Again, all of these also only in person. Let's keep it going down with the big stars that we have in these movies, I guess. Rabbit Trap, Zach.
Yeah.
Got your boy in it. Dave Patel coming in a film where he is just out there in the middle of nowhere, a remote house in Wales, where he's a musician. And then he starts to hear disturbing things that might be folk magic.
Sounds intriguing.
If a nameless kid knocked on it? Or are you going,
Nah.
You going monkey man on the kid?
Nah.
I heard a weird sound in my parents' basement the other day, and I closed the door.
It was the cats, bro.
I'm not the type to investigate, but I am curious about investigating this movie. It apparently is shot in 35 millimeter as well, which is pretty exciting.
Okay.
It is.
That looks good, especially because it's be outside. This one looks pretty solid. I don't believe it's picked up yet. But then there's the other one, Amanda. If you had to pick one actor between this power couple, who you picking to survive between Alison Brie and Dave Franco together?
Alison Brie seems like such an insane type A personality that I would put my money on her any day of the week and say, you stay over there, ma'am, I'm good. But like, you're just...
You've seen her wrestle, you're right.
Yeah.
I've been hearing good things about this one. They keep saying Dave Franco's performance is something like he's never done before.
I like that.
Don't know what that means, but... That's who they're shouting out.
I was trying to rack my brain. Have they co-starred in a film before? Because she starred in The Rental, which he directed, but he wasn't in it.
Huh.
It feels like they should have been.
It feels like they
maybe
have.
somebody can let us know in the comments. But I think this might be might be the first time on screen together, at least in this capacity.
Wow. All right. And it looks like they're being tortured. The horror of codependency told in a unique way is what Together is being pitched as. So, we'll see. It's also directed by an actor. I sometimes feel differently about that. Like, actors got an actor to direct them. We'll see how it goes, though.
Oh, no. He's the time cut guy.
I'm just leaving that out there.
Oh, he's just in it. Okay.
He's just in it. He might be like the actual person. One horror that's already been picked up is an IFC Shutter, Zach. So maybe good, maybe bad. A couple years ago, we had that Run Rabbit Run or whatever it was with... Yeah, you remember that one that went straight to Shudder right afterwards? It was okay, Sarah Snook.
Yeah.
This one is a fairy tale where beauty is brutal bruises. Elvira battles to compete with her incredibly beautiful stepsister and the will to go to any length for the prince's eyes. It's Norwegian. I think this is going to be the one that's the bloodiest. I think that's their big pitch for this one is we're going to cross the line. So if you needed that for your horror fest, I think this is the one for you.
Hell yeah.
Touch Me. Last two here.
I'm definitely curious about this one.
This one comes from the director of Hypochondriac, which premiered at South by a couple years ago. A guy who's internally going through a bunch of stuff because he is closeted. This one is about codependent people again.
Yeah, exactly.
A lot of codependency this year.
We'll
see how that goes. Twist being that these are best friends who become addicted to the heroin-like touch of an alien narcissist who may or may not be trying to take over the world. That's a really out there premise.
Interesting.
I also just like the images we got look really stylish and sexual. Apparently, this takes influence from Japanese cinema of the 60s and 70s. It's also a movie that's produced by XYZ Films, who produce a lot of interesting lower budget films. They did Blackberry, they did Paper Tigers. Speaking of Benson and Moorhead, Synchronic.
Nice.
Yeah.
So we'll keep an eye out for this one. Should be another good one to add in terms of the midnight one. And the last one to cover here is Dead Lover. The actress who directed this was in Strawberry Mansions. So you got a lot of Strawberry Mansions alums, Zach, coming in here trying to do some stuff. But this one in particular is about a lonely gravedigger who stinks of corpses, finally meeting her dream man. Then he dies, so she tries to bring him back to life. It's in the name, Dead Lover. Could be good. We'll see. Yeah. This definitely looks like it's going to be a little bit more humorous than the other ones. But nonetheless, that is the 7 midnight movies, thus wrapping up all of the narrative films in the competition, ladies and gentlemen. We split them up as best as we could between the ones up at the top that you get the chance to see if you're at home, and then the ones that you might need to keep your eyes out for. But if you're going to be there, plenty of premieres, midnights, family matinee spotlights to get into. We'll be covering the shorts later since we do have the shorts and episodics that came out today. We do end up covering those when we do our roundup and recaps as well. I don't know if y'all had any documentaries that you got to go through at all. Anything that stood out? Because there were some pretty good ones this year. If anything stood out to you, if not, I'll just list, not even in categories, just stuff that stood out.
Sugar Babies was interesting to me.
Sugar Babies, yeah, that one looks pretty good.
Yeah,
that one's out of the U.S. documentary competition. I was curious about that one. Although I will say my one slight hesitation with that one. Did you see the filmmaker?
I did, because it's Bama Rush, and that's why I feel like it's going to be massive. They did introducing Selma Blair, which is a good movie.
Oh,
yes.
But for girls teaching other girls how to be sugar babies, I know it's going to be a hit. I don't know if it's going to be the best film, but without a doubt, this might be like the one doc that gets traction.
Wait, who made it? Sorry,
the filmmaker behind Bama Rush.
Do you remember Bama Rush?
Oh no, I don't.
That went viral.
Actually.
Rachel.
Oh, that was like a pretty viral one on Max. Yeah, it was about the sororities.
Oh shit.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. I was like, the premise already is like perfectly suited for this director. But they also can make a good movie, because I thought introducing Selma Blair was pretty decent.
Yeah.
Like I had pulled up over here, they got one on Sally, the astronaut. Yeah. They've got one on the Chicago house music Inception, which I think will be interesting. Mm-hmm. You got to mention Summer of Soul director Questlove returning with Sly Lives.
Yeah.
Did you guys know he's doing The Aristocrat Cats? Questlove is directing this for Disney.
What do you mean?
Hey, bro, I don't know what to tell you. He is, and the craziest part is Questlove gave Summer of Soul to Disney. It's gonna work with Disney, and Sly Lives is already Disney's, already picked up by them.
Get your coin, King.
We love Summer of Soul. Came out of Sundance, and he won the Oscar. It was the award given right after the slap. So I want him to, I don't know, not be overshadowed by that. This looks like it could be a really good one. I don't know. I'm very curious for it. This is going to be in person as well. It's being put in the premieres as opposed to his last one. Third Act is a good one. It's a documentary from the filmmaking duo, if you want to call it. It's the son of filmmaker Robert A. Nakamura. His dad is going through Alzheimer's. Parkinson's, and he's trying to look back at his career. I think the more you know about his father's filmography, the better. But this looks like a son who's been making a bunch of films, and this is going to be the one to really stand out. Folktales. Alina really liked 2020's I Carry You With Me, a hybrid documentary of two lovers coming to America.
Yeah.
She's coming back with her co-director Rachel Grady for this movie called Folktales. I think it could look really interesting. You're just following a folk high school in the Arctic. And it's them growing up. I just really like the director, so I feel it could be good. Seeds is the cinematographer, Brittany Shy, who did American Factory, who did The Debutantes, shot a lot of really good movies, is now making their first about black farmers. I think we really liked a couple years ago, Aftershock. I think they're going to go as deep for this one in terms of the subject matter.
I was really curious about Seeds as well. So I'm definitely more excited knowing some of the creative talent has been behind other documentaries I like too.
This one's picked up by A24. Andre is an idiot.
I like the title.
Yeah, there's nothing. It's just he realizes he gets a colonoscopy. He's got cancer. And then his world gets flipped on it. They're pitching it as a comedy, I guess. Yeah. Hey, I'm there. They're keeping it at, the guy doesn't have an IMDb. We don't even know this guy's last name. Nothing. Yeah. But it's gonna. It seems like it's gonna have a splash. I've got one animated documentary. It's called Endless Cookie. It's about two half brothers, one indigenous, one white, raised in Toronto, and they retell it through stop motion animation, cutouts. I'm really intrigued with it. We don't really get too many like those, but that's going to be out there. We also have this movie called 2,000 Meters to Andrivica, and I'm like, really, bro? Y'all just going to do another 20 Days of... It's the director.
Oh, yeah.
From 20 Days of Mariupol coming back to cover the second half of that journey with 2,000 Meters to Andrivica. So he ended up winning an Oscar for it on his last outing. Now he's got to follow up here. How could you not have that on your radar?
Yeah.
My top two, though. I'm going very cliche. There's a Selena doc with unseen footage. I have to.
Of course.
I knew I could count on you to talk about this one.
Yeah.
The director did Mija during our COVID year. I thought that was a good one. Got picked up by Disney, so I can see this one having a really good push for it. Some good producers on there. But Zach had mentioned one earlier. and it's the return of our favorite documentarians out of Sundance.
Yeah.
This time working with footage already shot. Zach, tell them about Middleton.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this is the new film from Jesse Moss and Amanda McBain. If those names are familiar to you, you probably are as big of a fan of Boys State as we are. They also collaborated on Girls State last year. This
Don't
is
watch The Mission.
not... yeah, and then The Mission, which we won't talk about. But this is not another state film. This one is called Middletown. This is a pretty interesting film following a group of teenagers who made a student film that uncovered a vast conspiracy involving toxic waste. But it returns to this story 30 years later and promises to talk about the lasting impact and legacy of that time. So I think it's pretty interesting because a lot of times you will get these sort of investigative films, but you don't always get to find out like what is the long-term fallout or consequences of this moment. So that they are bringing that as part of like the whole premise here has me pretty intrigued.
Yeah,
for sure.
A lot of those movies, huh? What we filmed in the past coming back to be a new project of some sort.
Right.
I'm really excited with
What can I do with this old footage on my hard
What else can we come
drives?
with this? Yeah. I mean, you guys got to see, besides Girls State, the other one that they did last year, War Game. I still have to see that one. So
yeah,
I mean,
that was just Jesse, but it was
oh, just Jesse,
really,
gotcha.
Yeah, but it was thrilling.
So he's coming back with this one there. So, hey, some good stuff there. Really good documentaries. There's going to be a Pee-wee one as well. That's going to be in person, 2 parts. Sounds pretty good. Dude, To Catch a Predator has a documentary coming out. This one also got hit with the NC-17.
Not surprising.
As it should, right? Hold on, I don't even got it up there.
That one's also an interesting one in that I feel like YouTubers have covered everything being mentioned in this so fucking extensively.
Yes. But the director here, I don't think he's an American director, which is why I'm curious. He did Mayor, which is an incredible documentary. Yeah. This is exactly the type of voice you need to like cover it differently.
I agree.
Those YouTubers aren't talking about how they've become the exact same thing they hate.
Some of them are. Some of them literally do.
You know what
some
I mean?
of them are. Yeah, but some of them do. Some of them are just kind of like, I got so obsessed with this show and talking about it, and then it like hits a point where you're like, you realize all this stuff. There's probably a lot of stuff about Chris Hansen that's not going to get brought up on this, about how he tried to get involved.
Copyrights, right?
Well, it's copyright. He tried to get like super involved in YouTube culture and then like botched some entire investigation for something unrelated and like withheld evidence. So it's like, I always worry about stuff like this when so much of the internet goes so quickly that this can only scratch the surface and people will never get a full picture if that's even possible.
Yeah.
It's
one of the
interesting.
things
It says it wants to get into what it created, the ripple effect.
Yeah,
that's why I'm interested.
The world it helped create. And I don't know about either of you, but what my mind jumped to are those videos that go viral on like Twitter now of just random groups of people assaulting somebody that they deceived into trying to meet a underage person.
And half of them are fake.
Right. And it's just this like really huge part of the culture, these accusations of being a predator or of grooming and stuff like that. I do think there's a lot that you could get into with a documentary like this. So
I hope they do. That's the thing. I really need them to go in on that.
Yeah. You can't just skirt it. You're trying to make a documentary after, like you said, all of these videos have been made on it. Zach and I had talked a lot about that trend also being like an excuse to be like, I actually want to punch someone in the face. Yeah. So if I say they're bad enough, you can excuse me being a piece of crap as well.
Yes, literally it.
Obviously, no one likes those people, but like you're saying, sometimes they're fabricated, sometimes they're that. Even if they do deserve it, I don't see you finding someone to beat up as an excuse for your anger management.
That's sometimes they start chasing them, and that causes like actual like life-threatening situations to other people.
Very weird. Yeah,
it's like very weird stuff. Like for everyone that kind of learns their lesson and actually tries really hard to start working in the bounds of the law doing it, you have all these people that are just looking to sensationalize it or are just literally paying actors to pretend to be predators, so they just say and do weird shit in a Walmart and then run away yelling about how they're shitting their pants or something. Like it's absurd. So like I hope this touches on a lot of that.
Let's hope it does. I have it in my top 5 docs. I think it's definitely gonna be one of the big ones to come out there. Another one, just quickly to mention, this one, Free Leonard Peltier, comes from the director who did Welcome to Chechnya, a movie that still has one of my favorite CGI, VR, AI edits, if you want to call it that. I'll leave that for y'all to catch out. But it's enough for me to have this one about someone who was wrongfully convicted, I believe, being set to be free. So, guys, 90 minutes. Every movie you need to know about the film festival delivered to y'all. Let us know your thoughts down below. Let us know if you're going to be going to the festival. What movie stood out to you, all that good stuff. We are always available. You see all of our handles right there. You know this video. For years, I've been going since 2017. The gang has been going for now 5 years, 6 years, I think we're pushing.
This is 6.
We've all been going for over half a decade. If you ever have any questions, hit us up. We'll try to answer with the things that you may need personally. Best sock brand, glasses, but whatever you need.
Best
There's always
place to get a burrito in Park City.
Yeah.
You already know. Alberto's, let's go.
I love those.
Our favorite theaters. 3, 2, 1. The Ray.
The Ray?
I like Eccles.
There's something magical about the Eccles.
That's what I mean. The Ray is a better theater. Egyptian is fun, but Eccles, it's just,
traditional.
I have the best memories of the Eccles.
You have to do a premiere at the Eccles. You have to do a premiere at the Egyptian. But if you're just trying to sit in a comfy seat that has good sound and projection,
it's the Ray.
Yeah. Best bus line, 3, 2, 1.
21.
Yellow.
I think it is 21 too.
Yeah.
It might be that or the orange one.
It's like yellow 11, yellow 21. I don't know.
Something like that, right?
Am I making that reservation for us at Yukihana this year? You guys want to eat some expensive sushi?
That's the sushi place we've been trying to go to for like 10 years.
When my car
years we haven't been going. Yeah, that time. When your car fucking exploded.
Yeah, unless the car explodes again, Zach, I believe it is time to go there. Yeah. And the last thing we had to do was talk about, so do make that reservation. Yeah. The merch, we were looking at some of the stuff. You don't need to go to the festival to get some comfortable pairs of socks. We were looking at some of the stuff that we wanted to get just to get you in there. We were talking about this new design that they have. I am absolutely in love with it.
It's cute.
They have 4 lines, the top representing, and correct me if I'm wrong, Amanda, clouds?
I would say, the clouds, the skies.
Then
air,
the pointy one, mountains.
The mountains.
This one, the buildings.
The cityscape.
And then the waters. I love it. This reminds me a little bit close to the 2017 era that they had. I know I was eyeing this one. Amanda was eyeing the pink. I really like that limited edition poster.
It's good. That's a good poster. It's pretty.
Some of the other stuff they got up here. The hats.
Yeah, I like those hats a lot.
Corduroy. We're arguing whether those are going to be fitted on the beanies.
They look
These blew me away.
Those are fun.
Usually these are your regular socks to the right. Oh my, come on.
That's fun.
This is what I'm talking about. If you're at home watching online, you can be a part of the fun. Look at that. Those are beautiful.
Cozy.
I'm going to get another mug to break as I do yearly at the festival. So I'll be drinking out of that one. Really cool pins. Just cool stuff all around. So as we wrap up our picks, is there any other advice before we give our top 5s for people to remember for this 2025 Sundance Film Festival?
Ooh.
Make your reservations early. Looks like Yukiyama's all booked up.
Already? Shit.
Already.
Make sure you show up 30 minutes advance to your wait list.
Yeah.
Get that wait list app ready to go.
Sundance, more than any of the other film festivals, I think is really particular about promptness. Particularly like getting there 15 minutes before the movie starts, which is great. But especially that first weekend, those bus lines can be really delayed.
Yeah. So just do that. Don't be rude to other people. If you show up 1 minute past that wait list time, they will make you go to the back of the line. Don't be the asshole who tries to start bartering to get into your spot for the other people who showed up on time. We've all had our slip ups where we accidentally showed up too late. You just got to deal with it.
Yep.
It's good.
My advice in person is there will be a time slot, usually 6 a.m. or 8 a.m. You'll figure it out, whatever they end up doing, where you can check in online for tickets. If you're in person, that's going to be a big thing. You hearing about a movie and you wanting to go. Just know, even if you miss something, sometimes there are vouchers that they'll give you. And in which case, be it a packet or whatever else, you can keep those vouchers handy. Book those tickets in advance. You'll see how they drop them. You'll get used to it. And at home, same thing. Keep an eye out to see if any of those virtuals appear. I recommend those $35. I know it's expensive, but you get a group, like Zach was saying.
Yeah.
You start dividing it, and it really ends up being like a $10 screening with 3 people and such.
You can make like a really fun at-home film festival. Like we've had a ton of fun doing that in the past. Like you can have a ton of fun.
But I also agree, the award bundle, it gives you all the ones that have won something, so you don't feel that FOMO in case you do get something you're excited for. Didn't live up to the hype. I mean, just go about it that way. I still think we have been talking about it for 5 years now. Go to Sundance. If I had this before my 2017 years, are you kidding me? So I see people not taking advantage of it, and I'm telling you, you would be paying $20 to go see that in person. And how much would your Airbnb be? Your $35 screener at home. Trust me, you are saving money, folks. It is still worth it, in my opinion, to see a Sundance Film Festival movie early. We're a minute 40 in. You care. You've already answered your question. Right. You do care to buy a ticket, as we've covered yet again. What is this? What year is this? The last penultimate? I don't even know what Sundance is. 40, 45?
This is 42, I want to say. Sundance 42, because they did the 40th anniversary in 2023. No, 2020. Wait, that would make us 42.
Not even a century old yet, but here we are, covering everything on a weekly basis. Let's wrap it up with our top picks. What you got?
Amanda, you got your list?
Yeah, I think I'm going to go with Bunnylovr, which was the one about the cam girl, Katarina Zhu, and Rachel Sennett. I'm going to go Twinless, which was the one where it's a support group for twins, presumably, who lost their twins. You got Dylan O'Brien in there. Looks like it could be interesting. Opus, which is the Iowa Debris with the missing pop star and the cults, which I'm interested in. Then I think I'm going to go with Lurker, which is kind of similar. Somebody's trying to kind of push their way into some musical artist thing, and it gets into weird deadly territory things. I think that'll be really fun. And then I think for the last one, I'm gonna go with oh my god, I had it and I lost it. Okay, I lost my fifth.
What was it about?
I can't remember anymore.
We'll
There's so many. Yeah.
Gotcha.
For my 10, I think I'll start with OBEX, the movie about the blend between the video game and reality. Looks intriguing. Looks like it's shot pretty interestingly. I got Jimpa on my list with Olivia Colman and John Lithgow. I just feel like I'm going to cry a lot at that movie. Like Amanda.
The Father, no?
Right, something like that. Like
they think
Family
I'm dumb?
Ties.
I see it.
Bunnylovr, like Amanda, I'm curious to see what Rachel Sennett is producing on screen. The Wedding Banquet with Bowen Yang, Lily Gladstone, Andrew
I got that at 11, bro. Like, it's right there. I want to be wrong so bad on this one. I'm so hyping it. 11's no joke.
Like pick. Amanda, I'm putting Lurker on my list. I've also got Brides, that intriguing one about teens heading to Syria. Omaha, the film with John Magaro as a father, written by the dude who made Killing of Two Lovers. Bubble and Squeak, that movie about a country that's outlawed cabbage. Sneaking in there.
Squeaking
in there. If I had legs, I'd kick you.
Yes.
Of course.
Got to see what Conan O'Brien and A$AP Rocky do in a movie together with Rose Byrne. And then Opus. I'm just very curious about this one. Iowa Debris at the center of it. It sounds like it'd be really, really intriguing.
Yeah. Just to round mine out, I guess I'm going to toss in Together, which was the... Brie.
The midnight one?
Yeah, the Brie and Dave Franco
one.
And Hal Harper. Obviously, I'm a big fan of Cooper Raiff. I will follow him until he lets me down. But as of right now, there is just a certain charm to his earnestness that always hits my feels just right. And I'm interested to see him kind of trying things on an episodic level.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
I was going to start out with Hal Harper as well. But since you mentioned that, Wedding Banquet, Twinless was mentioned. I'll bump up that one that I was saying from the U.S. Dramatic. I'll start at number 10 with Love Brooklyn.
Yeah,
I'm hoping that this is able to break through and do something special out of the U.S. Dramatic competition. It's got good performances, it seems. I am going Opus. I feel like this is just going to be the shoe-in for sure. It seems to be the thumbnail that they're using a lot. Great premise, great cast from the Midnight category. Serious people out of the next category. This could be something special of a guy finding a doppelganger so that he can live his life. I think it's going to be a pretty interesting thing from a music video director. Next up, that premiere of All That's Left of You, I feel can be an Oscar contender by the end of the year. Starring and directed by, let me pull her up, Sherian Davis. I think this is going to be a really good one coming out of the premiere section.
Yes.
Also from the premiere, El Planeta director coming back. I think Chloe Sevigny, this is going to be the one. For those who don't know about Chloe, which you already should, this is the reason why she continues to stay
she's a little favorite. Everybody loves Chloe.
She always finds a new cult group to like fall in love with her.
And apparently she's super nice in person.
And
so
that's all you
and
need.
she's in a bunch of the stuff with like the Brat stuff, right? With Charlie XCX. She was in that.
Because she comes up as the original internet girl.
Yeah, she's with it, guys. She's with it.
She's
right up there. Oh, you go.
She was on my flight to Toronto this year. She's everywhere.
Yes, she's like right up there with Natasha Lyonne. Like, they're right up there.
So this is one of those other ones where even if this is only in person, but if it was playing online, we would make it out. Like, we're already at Sundance. I would go see them talk about this one. But I got Magic Farm right there. As I lead to one that is in person, online, but I would watch in person. I want to be there for the premiere of Atropia, where she's pretending, she's an actress who's in this, a drill for military role-playing. If Luca's producing it, I think there's going to be a reason for it. Mm-hmm. Ricky from the Sundance category taking a short film, making it a narrative as a guy gets out of prison. Lurker, I think, is the one for the three of us. All of us got it on our top three.
Yeah, Lurker and Opus.
Brockhampton, and Opus, thank you. Yeah. If you've worked with Brockhampton, Beef, The Bear, and you got that cast, like we were saying, from Zach Fox to the Chicken Nugget Kid, it's going to be good. And then my top two are probably the best title and the best logline. If I had legs, I'd kick you at my number two. And I'm just going to say the premise again. A woman swaps body with a chair, and everybody likes the chair more, guys. I don't know what to tell you. By design, my number one anticipated from this festival. It is going to be good. We went through all of the selections so that you guys know what's on your radar. Whether you don't catch it at the festival, hopefully you catch it throughout the year. Every year we see a bunch of movies tend to come out before April, but then a good chunk, all of the best selections, as we saw with A Real Pain, which I don't think we've mentioned, they end up coming out in the fall. So a lot of these movies may not come out for a year. So keep your eye on a lot of these picks. Please watch one movie virtually if you can. It's such a cool thing for Sundance to still be doing. But other than that, you can catch more from me over at LME Movies on all social media. You can find more from Amanda the Jedi over...
you can find me on YouTube primarily, Letterboxd a lot, Twitter, Blue Sky now, at Amanda the Jedi, and sometimes on Twitch, but not frequently.
All right. Zach's over at?
You can find me across social media at Zshevich, or anywhere you find videos at Multiplex Show.
You can find everything dealing with Intercut over on the Intercut podcast on all socials. Check out whatever your podcatcher of choice is, from SoundCloud, Apple Music, all that, or not Apple Music, iTunes. Leave us that 5-star review. Let us know all of your thoughts on Sundance or any other movies. We'll be hopping on to, well, that's irrelevant because this is going to be recorded later. But let us know your thoughts down below on the comments section. What recommendations stand out to you? And until next time, see y'all later. Take care.